And welcome back to Stories from the River. This is your host, Charlie Maloof, and I am here with Karen Ohar from the Raleigh Glenwood grand reopening.
Welcome to Stories from the River, a show in which we go behind the scenes at Broad River Retail.
Karen, tell us who you are, first time guest on the pod. Tell us how long you've been with the river.
Sure, first time on the pod. Thank you for having me, Charlie. I've been with Broad River since October 16th of 2017. It's been a great experience. I enjoy the river and look forward to many more years here.
And you are the Associate Director of Visual Impact.
Yes.
And so you oversee how many stores?
With Janet, the 33 that we have, we sort of banter and split our coverage, but Yep, we're at all 33.
So Karen, you were kind of running point on this grand reopening, weren't you?
Yes.
This conversion to a 7.0 store. So you also were on point with the Fayetteville store as well, right?
Yes.
Last year.
Yes.
Okay, juxtapose those two, or just tell us, how many remodels have you done or overseen?
Well, gosh, I believe when I came and started in the Raleigh market, there were 3 stores, and now we've got Raleigh to 12 with the coastal region. Mm-hmm. So just the difference in that alone of the 9, plus what we've opened in, I call them the A stores, the Augusta, Asheville, string of stores, Albemarle in 2021, I believe. So quite a few we've opened, and then remodeled. I've been a part of the University, remodel, Fayetteville, and here at Glenwood. But
this is one you kind of were the point person overseeing all of it. So talk to us about the process. Like, I know you had your meetings with Tim on construction and the planning, and with Janet and merch. Like, just what goes into that?
So a lot of meticulous planning, just the detailed moves of getting out of zones. And so construction doesn't stop, and that's what you have to realize from the beginning is we work to the construction timeline regardless of what else is going on in the showroom, and we have to schedule accordingly and staff for that. And so if they need that space cleared on October 3rd, we have to be out of that space by October 3rd. And so we have to work to the construction deadline. So everything else we back up. So we back up the timeline, we back up our moves list, we back up our moves days, we back up the scheduling and staffing accordingly to hit those milestone move out dates. And then when we get the zones back, we've got about a day or two to refill the space and move out of the next space. And sometimes we have 2 teams working in tandem to do 2 different efforts there. So it's very scheduled, and the timing has to be right on point with construction, and the communication with the construction teams, not just with our Broad River partners, but with the actual construction teams is crucial.
So there's a lot there.
Yes.
So this is like a 36,000 plus square foot store.
Yes.
And when you're talking about zones, really what you're saying is the construction team needs to either demo or construct or build or paint in a certain area, and you've got to get all the product out of that area.
Correct.
It's being partitioned off.
Correct.
So you've got to either sell or move, sell off or move off. So like there's a lot of operational precision that goes to this. In some cases you're marking down products, in some cases you're moving, and trying to not make it look so hodgepodge at the same time too, right?
Right, we try to keep some type of flow, some type of environment story, some type of color story with the accessories, because our first and foremost concern is the customers, right? We are open, and we want to make sure that we are selling products. So we do try to do as much as possible to vignette out the groups where we can and make them look great and have them have some type of flow. There are some circumstances when you get down to the last zone or something that it's kind of a Hail Mary to the finish line, but.
Yeah, well, I mean, to your point, we don't close to do a construction. So we're open for business throughout. And this project started when?
I want to say before Black Friday. It was mid-November.
Okay, so November, December, January, February, went all the way through now, February, probably up until last night doing final touches, right? Yeah, I'm sure. And so who helped you on your team? Because I know you're liaisoning with construction, you're liaisoning with merchandising, with retail, on the floor moves, and then your visual team, and then operations. Maybe we heard today, like you bring some, or facilities, you bring people in here to help you assemble, disassemble, move product. But who on the visual team do you want to kind of cite to say, hey, these folks really helped us with this project?
Yes, our area manager, Jamie Galloway, was just impeccable in her leadership with the visual her visual impact managers in her area, bringing them in, bringing her VIAs in, and setting that schedule, getting the staffing done weekly. Helping her through the dominoes list the first couple times, but her taking hold of that and really understanding after the first couple of zones and the move outs, okay, you got it. This is going to happen again. It repeats itself every zone. So that learning for her, she took it and ran with it. And then this particular renovation had the quickest turnaround time between when we finished the last zone to when we are here today.
Really?
Right? 10 days or exactly 2 weeks.
For like the influx of all the new product.
For us to move into the new space and I think we received 5,000 cubes of product in 10 days.
That's amazing.
We did a total floor reset.
In 10 days?
In 10 days. We received a new Sealy lineup on Wednesday or Tuesday.
Brand new, like, dozen Sealy
yeah, so
mattresses.
we had trucks coming in. Lynn's team, merchandising did a Hail Mary getting us an additional accessory truck on Monday.
Oh, wow.
And so we were still opening and putting out, but as late as yesterday afternoon.
So not only is your team doing all this kind of last minute urgent duty, a lot of people, the construction happens, a lot of it's overnight. Like the flooring is overnight, and then I'm sure some of it's during the day, but they don't want the lift trucks making too much noise to disrupt customers. And you guys are doing floor moves at the same time. And there's a lot that a lot of moving parts. What was maybe one of the key learnings you had in this project that maybe came up different than other projects?
So one thing that we leaned into this go-round was leaning into the team's strengths on the visual impact team. Historically, when we do a store opening, we will divide the team into the zones that they will redecor and set and put the jewelry on and merchandise. But in this situation, I felt like we would be more efficient dividing it by accessory category. And so I leaned into the team's best skill set, like who has the best wall art skills, who has the best space planning skills, who can assemble the product the best, our operations partners. So it was leaning into people's best skill set within the team to create what you see here. So 2 people hung wall art, 2 people put lamps out, 3 people set the product, and specialization, and it proved to be more efficient.
I can imagine.
That may be
the go forward.
Yeah,
I love
we'll
it.
see.
So Karen, I would tell you, we've been in this store a little bit over 12 years. It's never looked better than it does today. So kudos to you and your team.
Thank you, Charlie.
Why is it important to reinvent and remodel and refresh? And why to do that generally, and you've been in the furniture business for a long time, why is it important to kind of reinvent yourself? And why do you like or love the 7.0 Ashley store design concept?
Sure. Well, it's important to reinvent. It gives us an opportunity to reconnect with the community and reconnect with our customers and our memory makers, and give everyone another reason to celebrate, another reason to come out, another reason for revenue growth, and for years to come, just creating, furnishing life's best memories for years to come. So it's important to always be involving, just to reconnect with the community and customers.
Is there any particular area or collection or zone that you think is going to be the one that really bedazzles the most with our guests, or that you're most proud of?
I believe the Millennium area, just because it leans to that higher elevated look, and the value you get with Ashley furniture is very comparable without the price tag. And so you go into a restoration, which this is the look, and we've got it here. and for half the price.
So talk about some of the collections in what you would describe as the Millennium area. Like, what are some of those collections that stand out? Like, that's a home run value at an elevated look.
Sure. So we have some of our feather seating group. We've got the Imola leather, stationary leather, which is great. It comes in different configurations. We also have the introduction of the Mod Max, which is modular, which is huge. So I'm looking forward to that, and I believe we're getting that in alternate colors coming down the line. So really looking forward to the success of those groups.
Love it. Now, Karen, how has the retail team here responded? Like, what have been their reactions that you've noticed when they've seen like the finished palette and layout here?
The last 3 days, they have been smiling. The customers have been in the building, all over them, all over us. You know, somehow our customers find us on a ladder and with a steamer in hand and follow us around. But they've been smiling. Our HFCs have been doing their AOPs, you know, so
AOPs.
areas of pride.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's been great to see the sparkle in their eye the last few days, especially because I could tell they knew we were at the finish line. And that was great. I've had HFCs on the floor that have come up to me personally to say how much they love the showroom and thank the team that I typically don't hear from, you know, the quiet ones of the bunch. And so that was really special. That was special to me. And, you know, it's all for them. It's all for us. It's all for Broad River. And it's all for our community and customers.
I think that satisfaction of having someone on the sales floor come up to you and with a sparkle in their eye and say, thank you, this is really going to help me connect better with my guests, to do a better job, and to sell more furniture or more mattresses.
Right. Correct.
Yeah. So on to the next. Now we got, you know, I wish we could snap our finger and have all that done, but you know, the process of going through it, I think, is really what instills that appreciation, because we know how much blood, sweat, tears, and sweat equity and elbow grease kind of goes into it to get to this point. But we got like 5 more on deck to get them. You know, we got Columbia, we got Mooresville, we got
exciting.
Arden, Wilmington, Hickory. So we want to bring all of our stores up to this 7.0 concept, and we couldn't do it without you and your team. You guys do an amazing job, and it's a special day when you get to cut a ribbon and just say, and you thanked a lot of people. So let me give you one more chance here to say, who all did you thank and recognize when you were up to speak during the comments during the presentation?
Yeah. So first off, you know, Charlie, you and Manny.
Well, I'm not looking for you. No, beyond.
Beyond Janet. You know, just you know, I continue to be blessed with leaders that believe in me, and the VI team that does feel the same way. And so working with a company that believes in visual impact makes a huge difference in the lives of others, and does increase the revenue. But who else did I recognize?
I think Jim, Liam.
Jim, Izzo, Liam, because they started out the project secretly painting, right? But that was one of the biggest accomplishments, because that's what gives that 7.0 right out of the gate appearance. Tim Sales with the communication, and just we get smoother with every renovation that we do because of his planning and the communication and the keeping us on track on those Friday calls, and with construction.
I think you also recognized the operations team.
Team. The art of the actual on building product quickly with quality is exactly what we need. And I'll probably looking at the same. I'll be looking at the same thing to do the same thing as Spartan Ridge for Harbison, hopefully.
So
that is a best practice.
That's great. Now, last question for you. When you think from the flooring, the polished concrete, to the lighting and the LEDs and the paint and everything in between, do you have a favorite element of the new refreshed 7.0 store design?
I think it's the lighting.
Really? And what about the lighting from before and after?
So, well, in this store, we all know what it was before. It was a little darker, but even in the stores that had more light, I still think it showcases the furniture better, and it doesn't misrepresent the colors or the fabric, and so there's less customer returns.
Yeah, and it's like, we call it residential lighting because it looks like what it's going to look like in your home, and that's so important to get lighting right in a furniture store when someone's shopping, for it to not be too dark, for it to be, it feels bright, and even the white walls play off of the lighting plays off of the white walls. It feels bright, well lit. And yeah, I also love the polished concrete too.
I do too.
Yeah,
I do.
You guys did it out, and I also really like the expanded sleep shop.
Yes.
It's much needed in the store. Karen, any final words that you want to, or shout out here for your first time on Stories from the River?
Just looking forward to pioneering in 2025 and on to the next renovation.
Awesome. On to the next. Well, thank you so much, Karen.
Thank you.
Your first time guest. I know we gave you a whole bunch of notice, like all of 20 minutes. Thanks so much for joining us here at Stories from the River. We try to bring you fresh new content of what's happening at the river every Tuesday and Thursday. Thanks for joining us. Do us a favor, subscribe or mash that like button, and wherever you get your fresh new content, whether it's YouTube, Apple, or Spotify. Thanks so much.
Thanks for listening to Stories from the River. To check out more episodes, visit storiesfromtheriver.com. Join us again next week, and remember to like, rate, and subscribe to the podcast.